never ends. The fighter in you brings out the fighter in me. Shake it off and take your corner, time for shout out. The fighter in you brings out.
Welcome back, fight friends. Here we are once again, another episode of the Mighty Shutout Podcast. Here we are with my man, one championship fighter, Cody Jerome. Cody, thanks for doing this today, man.
No, thank you for having me on, Jason. It's been a while since our last one, so it's going to be great to have another chat with you.
Yeah. And last, I know, like few months ago, we tried to get together, it didn't work, but yeah, I'm happy we can make it happen now, man. And obviously, we want to hear about your one championship debut and how things went leading up to all that. We'd love to hear all that stuff. I was just going to say something beforehand though. Doesn't matter. I'll tell you what. I was going to say the Eric Thenkichin podcast. Obviously, I appreciate you reaching out saying, "Hey, man, I did hear," and I wanted you to know too, and I've reached out to you that it's just my opinion, and I'm sure we'll learn that I'm not sure if your one championship debut, it certainly probably didn't go the way you thought it would, and from my point of view, like I know I've kind of become the podcast guy. But before that, I'm a Muay Thai coach. I've been teaching for decades, literally. And so from my point of view, I don't have any judgment or good or bad, but I'm just very curious to hear about just the process leading up to it, how things were going, what you were feeling then, what you were feeling when this one happened and that happened. And just from my own coaching mind, I'm very curious to hear exactly what the fighter, the mind itself was going through. So, I was just wondering if you could start, though, with, listen, man, it was a tremendously long layoff. I'm very curious, coming off that big win, the Road to One tournament, how were you doing during that long layoff, over a year up into that fight?
Yeah, I'm not going to lie, Jason. Last year was a tough year for sure. Coming into 2024, I felt like I had a lot of momentum, right, coming off that tournament win and stuff, and I felt really good, right? I was really excited to, make my debut in one championship and stuff, and it just never came, right? We just waited and waited and waited, and there was just so much uncertainty with everything. We're like, what's going on, right? Like, what's going to happen here? Like we knew it was going to happen eventually, but like when, right? A year, 2 years, like what's going on? And like, I in the media too, like I wasn't the only one that had this problem,
Very
right?
true.
Last year, especially, it seemed like.
So I'm just curious. Then was it just radio silence during this time? Like, we'll let you know when it's time.
Yeah, pretty much. They promised something, right, and then it wouldn't happen, right? And then it would happen again and again and again. And I don't want to speak about one championship. Like, who knows? Things happen, right? Like, I don't know what goes on behind the scenes.
Sure. All I'm asking is for just what happened. Right?
Yeah. I'm happy to be with one, right? This is exactly where I want to be. I just want to make that clear, right?
Muay Thai isn't where it is without where one is right now.
Yes.
Believe me, preach, man. I hear you.
Yeah. But then, summer came finally, and then we actually had a date in Denver. We're gonna make our debut against Luke also, and unfortunately Luke got injured in his fight. I think he broke his orbital bone or something like that.
Was scrap.
It was, it was
man.
a wild.
Yep.
So unfortunately that didn't take place, and then we waited all fall, right, pretty much all the way up until like November, and then we got this date. But yeah, last year was a tough year, Jason. And then earlier on in the year too, I got this infection in my arm.
Oh,
it was in my elbow actually, and it started out small, and then it just spread out like crazy, right? And couldn't get it under control. Ended up like going to the hospital, and they didn't know what to do, right? So they put me on this like the strongest antibiotic there is, and finally got rid of it. But it was like a 3-month process, right? And I had like lines going across my stomach too. Like it got pretty scary, right? But
and they didn't know what it was?
No, they didn't know what it was. They just couldn't figure it out. And it just kept spreading and spreading and spreading. Like my arm was huge.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was wild. But thank goodness got that under control. And Yeah, but yeah, last year wasn't that fun of a year. But you know what? We move on, and you know, we got our debut this year, and it didn't go the way we liked, but it is
Yeah.
what it is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and I definitely want to break that down. Um, so leading up to the well, first of all, Luke. So there was a plan in place to fight Luke first. So let's say after the Denver card didn't happen, was like, let us know when Luke's ready, or we'll take anybody. But or was Luke the guy?
It seemed like Luke was the guy. It seemed like they really wanted me to make my debut against Luke.
Hmm.
And I'm not too sure why, but it's just the way it was. And you know, we were open to fighting anyone, Jason. We just wanted to get in there, right?
Sure.
Um,
How are you
yeah,
staying? How are you staying motivated to train with that long layoff?
it was tough, right? Like, um, I'm always like I'm a motivated guy, Jason. Like
Without a
I'm
doubt.
disciplined, right? Yeah. Like I didn't stop training all that the whole year, right? I trained the whole year, right?
Sure.
I was trying to stay ready and stuff, but it's more mental than anything,
Hmm.
right? I just felt like the momentum I gained from 2023 kind of diminished a little bit,
Yeah, yeah, for
right?
sure, for sure.
Yeah, and I just felt like you know, I seen everyone else fighting too, right? Like, and I was like, yeah, I just want to get in there, right? Like, there was just so much going on. It seemed like last year, and I was just like, yeah, like I want to be back in the spotlight,
Yep,
right?
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I felt like I fell out of the spotlight. I just, yeah, that was pretty tough mentally, but it is what it is.
Sure. Yep. And yeah, when that flame's, good and big, you want to keep feeding it. It's you don't want that to go out for sure.
No doubt. Yeah.
All right, man. So you get the call. That's it. Here we go. It's go time. Tell us what you were thinking at that moment, and probably for the next, like, how long notice did you get?
It was early November that we
Okay.
got yeah.
Okay. Good. So
Yeah.
so once you got the go, it was happening. Up until then, how did the mentality? How was training from that point on?
We just upped it, right?
Sure.
Yeah, we were just super excited to get the call, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, yes, finally, right?
And just
Fine.
and probably for a guy like you who stays disciplined and hungry, I mean, it was probably nice to just like laser focus. Okay, here we go.
100%. You know, it was good for Brad and Connor too, right? Because
Good
it
point.
wasn't just a tough year for me last year; it was a tough year for them, right? They
Yeah.
wanted to see me get in there too, right? And
Sure.
you know, and get back in the spotlight and everything. But yeah, they were pumped too. But yeah, we were just excited to get the call again, and we're just like, hey, go time. Let's do this, right? We know we got a tough fight ahead of us. You know, Luke's number 5 for a reason,
Yeah,
right?
man.
Yeah,
Yep.
and it's no easy task making your debut against the number 5 guy, right?
Yeah, man, and especially him. I mean, he got jumped, thrown in the deep end too. I mean, those fights they've only been bangers and against top class opposition. So, uh, yeah, man. Did you get a choice, or like, I don't know? I don't know how it works, man. You're the one championship fella. Was it? Do you get like, hey, we have a few guys here, or like you were saying, where they were dead set on like this is the man.
Just Luke. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
the only option we got. So
Gotcha. All
and
right.
we were good with that, Jason. Like we were up for the
Sure.
challenge, right? We felt like we had a really good game plan and stuff, and we're like, hey, let's do this, right? It was a fight that we felt like we could have won, right?
For sure.
So,
For sure.
yeah, we were game, 100%. Um,
I would to hear otherwise from you would be like a little weird, to be honest.
yeah, 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 for sure, for sure.
Um,
Um,
so what we're right off the bat, I guess, through the training camp. I don't know if you're willing to let it go specifically, but what were some specifics throughout training camp that you thought, okay, these are some areas that we really got to hit?
so we knew Luke. You know, he doesn't do so well when he doesn't have that space, right? He's a lengthy guy. He
Yep.
likes his range, right? So when he doesn't have that range, he's not as effective, right?
Mm.
So we wanted to close that gap, right? And we wanted to just like really put it on him,
Mhm.
right? And keep him on his back foot because he's just not as effective on his back foot,
Mhm.
right? So yeah, we kind of wanted to make it a little bit of a messy fight,
Sure.
honestly.
If you give him room to sit and dance and stuff, he's crafty. He's got a lot of tools in the toolbox.
Yeah, like we knew like going in, like it might be a tough fight, right? Like we might
Mhm.
have to take one or two to give by, right?
Sure.
To get inside. But you know, our game plan didn't go the way we wanted, but yeah,
Sure.
it is what it is.
Yep. The fight game, man. Was it? Was the training? Did it feel different? Going from, because obviously now you've done a few fights in the little gloves, you've done the 3-3s. Um, was there a switch? Like I obviously it's the big show and TV and all that kind of good stuff, but was training kind of the same, maybe specified for an opponent, but you know what I mean? Like was the change different as it was through the Road to One tournament?
So like through the Road to One tournament, we developed a game plan for each individual opponent, right?
Mhm.
Tyson, Quinn, and Daniel, right? And I feel like we had good game plans for every one of them,
Yeah.
right?
But for a guy who mostly fought 5 rounds for probably many years in a row almost at this point, maybe a couple threes, like does that change things up for you as well as the little gloves? You know what I mean?
No, yeah, 100%, yeah. So like it's more explosive, right? Like
Mhm.
instead of doing 5 rounds on the pads, we're gonna do 4 4s hard, right? High pace, right?
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's the difference. And even like on the bag too, Jason. Like instead of doing 5 rounds on the bag, I mean, I'm going 4 4s, nonstop, high pace, right? Because that's just what one championship is, right? And that's what they like, and that's just the way it is. That's what
Sure.
with fights a lot of the time, right? It's just high pace, go go go,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Yeah, and I do enjoy that style, Jason. I enjoy them like the traditional style, and I enjoy the one championship rules too, right? And
Yep.
I do enjoy the little gloves as
Yeah,
well.
you do. Hey, yeah.
Yeah,
Well, yeah, man, you're a busy guy. I would imagine, you put a lot of hands on cats. I would imagine you do like those little gloves.
yeah. It's a
Uh,
little bit easy to sneak in there, and it changes the defense. And yeah, I do enjoy fighting with the little gloves.
Nice. So,
Yeah.
besides the normal pros and cons, like I guess from my point of view, 5 rounds, you get to sit into the fight a little bit more. There's not a race to win 2 rounds or round number one. Obviously, if there's 3 rounds, it's a little bit shorter fight. You can push the pace a little bit. But besides the obvious, do you find any other pros or cons between the two, the 3 round, and the traditional style?
5 rounds is just more time, right? You can take the first round off,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And then come back in the second, third, right? Like, whereas the 3 rounds, there's no time, right? You can't afford to sacrifice that first round, right? You
Yeah.
have to go. And in the past, I do feel like I was a little bit of a slow starter, not an extremely slow starter, but a little bit of a slow starter, right? I like to settle in and then go,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
And I think a lot of the time that in the past, that's where guys would try to take advantage of me. I feel like they knew that, right? So they would really start hard
hmm
because they knew as the fight went on, they'd have less and less chance of winning.
Good call.
Right?
Yes.
And I got really good endurance too, right? Like I can
Mhm.
keep a high pace for 5 rounds, right?
Yeah.
I feel
I
like
could see it, right? You got to get Cody early, or he's gonna start going downhill, and you can't stop him. I could see where people would say that about you.
yeah. Like I feel like I get in my rhythm as the fight goes on, Jason.
Yep.
And it just gets better and better for me, right?
Yep.
For the Road to One fights, I really had to focus on starting a little bit quicker, right?
Mhm.
I had to get my rhythm a little bit faster, right? And that's not an easy thing to do, right?
Sure.
But
Sure.
I just had to like really cement that mentally. Like, yeah, I gotta go right away, right? And in the first fight of the Road to One tournament against Tyson Green, like you've seen that, right? He caught me early on,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
And then after that, it went downhill for him, right? But
It sure did.
yeah. So yeah.
Oh man, you just touched on something. 3 rounds, starting fast. That's what I was gonna say. I can't remember. So Derek Jolivet's coach, Tim Lowe's coach, Ryan Timothy, shout out to him. He came up, and this is why he's brilliant. He kept track. It was at IFMA, but I get the whole point. I don't think it matters if it's IFMA or anything else, but some kind of, I don't know the stat. I could say 70%, 80%. It doesn't matter. Well over 50% of the time, whoever won round one won the fight.
Mhm.
Round one just so unbelievably important, in those 3 round fights.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
That
Yeah.
was
And those
pretty.
do more damage too, Jason. Like, they're like I said, they're easier to sneak in there, right? You'd be a little bit more wild, right?
Yep.
Like,
Yeah, man, you see it. Yeah, for sure, man, for sure.
Yeah.
Now I used to coach Chris McMillan, and he was the WBC Canada champ Before you, he retired, and then I think it was you and Kyle who fought for it. Is that correct?
Correct. Yeah.
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 Okay, so I'm not. It's just what happens around the weight class. I'm not saying Chris ever was like sizing up Cody, but if you're around the same weight class, you're always gonna take a peek. Well, that guy's around my weight class. And something that I heard, and Chris didn't often say things like this, but he always said, "Dude, Cody's huge. Like for 154, dude, Cody's a big dude." What was it like? I mean, depending on the weight, I guess, but during the layoff and then knowing you have a camp and quite a long when you have lots of time. What was it like dealing with the weight cut itself back down to 155? The hydration things, I know that's kind of new. During camp, how was that to deal with? Before we get on the scales, how was it to deal with?
In this particular camp, Jason, like my
Yeah,
last
yeah,
one?
yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so I've never said this out loud, like I've never said this publicly, but in camp, I feel, especially like in the last couple of years, ever since I came back after COVID and fought Quinn, I probably feel the best about 6 weeks out of the fight.
Mm.
Yeah, which isn't great, right?
No,
Like,
you want to feel the best when you're fighting.
yeah. So yeah, like I walk around in like I try to stay like in the low 180s, Jason. But like I'm in the low 180s, and I got a six pack still, right?
Sure.
And so there's not much to pull from, right?
I see. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah. So I feel like I'm, in a catabolic state a lot of the time, especially my last few fights in the last like 4 or 5 weeks of camp.
You're talking to the wrong guy. What does that mean?
So I'm just like breaking down muscle tissue,
Okay.
right? Which, again, like that shouldn't be happening, right? You should be preserving muscle tissue, right?
Right.
Or even gaining a little bit, right?
Right.
Throughout camp. But yeah, it's not a good feeling. So I feel my best about 6 weeks, and I kind of diminish as time goes on. But before this fight, I was winning, right? I'd show up to fight night. Yeah, I knew I wouldn't be 100% walking in there, right?
So you've been feeling like this for a few years.
I've been feeling like this for a few years.
Okay,
Yes.
I'll fully admit. Usually, when we see you at the weigh-ins, man, you look like you hate life. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Not that you're saying that. I'm like, okay, good, because that's what it looked like.
For sure. I was trained a lot, and like for a few of those, definitely, right?
Yeah.
I wasn't feeling my best. But I'd show up to fight night and I'd put on a performance and I'd win. So I was just like, you know what? This is where I'm going to stay. I've established myself in this weight class, right? And
and with your style, never a question of cardio when you're feeling like that going into fight night.
Was never an issue in the past, right? Was
Yeah,
never
well,
an
that's
issue.
what I mean. So while you're diminished for 6 weeks, at no point did you worry about that? Like, because your cardio is this way above average, and yet listen to how you're like, dude, I'm depleted really bad, and like it was never a concern.
No, not really, Jason. I did
Damn.
did it so many times, right? I was just confident in my ability to
Sure.
push, right?
Wow.
And one thing I do feel like diminished though was my strength and power, right? I feel like I've never really gotten to show my true strength and power in fights, right? In my professional career. Now I think, making the decision to go up, I think I'm going to be able to showcase that. Like, I'm going to be able to have that crazy cardio, right? Crazy speed with now some power,
Sure.
right? Yeah.
Would you hope? I personally do, but would it be nice if there was a weight class in between those, or are you happy exactly at 170 or whatever the kilogram weight is?
I wouldn't mind a weight class at 162, 165.
Yeah, yeah.
But I don't think I'm going to be a small 170er. We'll see, right? We'll see how it goes.
Yep.
But I'm excited for it. It's a new chapter for me, right?
Yeah.
Me and my team. And I'm really focusing on the strength and conditioning side of things right now. Whereas
I see those biceps in that shirt, man.
Yeah. Yeah, I've never really gotten to focus on that in the past, Jason, because I couldn't afford to put on a pound or two of muscle, right?
Right.
Yeah. So, no, I'm really excited to see how I'm going to feel and perform at this new weight class. And yeah, I feel like I'm going to be able to enter the ring at 100%. And I haven't felt like I've I've been in that position for a long time.
Yeah, you're gonna feel like Superman for your entire camp, man.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. I think so too. And I should touch on this too, Jason. Like early on in my professional career, right? Like for the Muay Thai World Cup, like Sutina tournament and like
Hmm.
fighting and stuff. 155 was the correct weight class for me during that time.
Yeah, gotcha.
I didn't have much of a problem making
Okay.
55 at all, actually.
Yeah.
I was
Okay.
walking pretty close to that. I was like, 165, right? Low
Right.
160s. And over COVID, I got older a little bit. And when I fought Quinn, I was like, this got a little tougher, right? And every fight after that was just tougher and tougher and tougher and tougher,
Hmm.
right? I knew one day I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to go up, right? Eventually, right?
Right.
And unfortunately, it took something big like this to happen for
Sure.
me to make that decision, right?
Sure.
Yeah, and so
Unfortunately, usually that's how it goes.
that's
You know?
usually how it goes. Yeah,
Hmm. Hmm.
because if I would have won this fight, Jason, and everything would have went well, I would have made hydration and everything, and I probably would have stayed at 55,
Sure. Of course.
right?
Of
Yeah.
course. Right when you know you're going to one championship, like I said, you were looking pretty grizzly at the weigh-ins. Was hydration a concern? Were you like okay, this might actually be a problem? Because you looked pretty depleted at most of the weigh-ins. How was that trying to navigate that? Or is that something you try to do throughout camp, or is that almost like a last minute thing as you're doing your final cut?
Like the hydration stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a last minute thing.
Because bro, so many people fail it, man. So many. So many.
Yeah, it's a weird system for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
And like I want to make it clear too, Jason. Like I don't know if a lot of people know this. I did make the weight in my last fight. I was 154 pounds
Hmm.
um at the official weigh-in, but I just failed hydration.
Right.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, do you want to like go like yeah, I'll
Well, okay, I'll tell you what. But before we get there, I guess so. I want to talk about it real bad, but hold on. Let's try to stay on. I'm trying to stay on the timeline here.
yeah.
Um, how long out did you go? Were you? How long before your fight did you head out to Bangkok?
We were there 10 days prior.
10 days. Okay. So how is it? How is it traveling there, feeling depleted, knowing maybe you probably still got weight to cut and meals and all that stuff? Just kind of curious. How were you feeling at that point, going over finishing up?
I was pretty tired, Jason, like just from camp and stuff. I felt already pretty depleted.
Right.
Right. I'm very low body fat percentage at that point, right? 170 pounds, 169 pounds, but at like 5% body fat, right?
Right.
Whereas
Right.
still got 15 pounds to lose,
Right.
right? No easy task. But I feel like, I'm mentally tough, Jason. I feel like I can usually push through anything, right?
Hmm.
I'm game, right? Like I try to keep a really good attitude throughout it all, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
So we were heading there to win, right?
Of
Even
course.
though I felt depleted, I'm heading there to win, right? And yeah, so we got to Bangkok about 10 days out, did a little bit of training there, trained once at Sanctinoy's gym
Nice.
there, and that was cool. That was a really sweet experience.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah. And then yeah, for a week, started to lose weight a little bit more and more and more. And then Thursday was the weigh-ins. So Wednesday we started to cut. Wednesday night, so we went to the sauna Wednesday night and cut a little bit.
How were
But
you feeling at that point? Were you thinking like, okay, let's get it off, or were you like, oh God, this is gonna suck?
I knew it was going to suck.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I guess it always does, doesn't it?
it sucks. Yeah, yeah. But yeah, I knew it was going to be tough, and I was definitely concerned about this hydration testing.
Right.
Yeah. Um, I did have someone out there with me. I didn't want to do this by myself, right?
Sure.
So I just want to make that clear. Like I did hire someone. I didn't just wing it, right?
Well, and you're not the kind of guy that will. This is a big opportunity. You're gonna give yourself as much edge as you can. No surprise there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, we did a cut Wednesday night. Went to bed a little bit depleted. Then Thursday morning we woke up, did another cut, and felt pretty bad. Yeah, I was feeling pretty bad. And then they had medicals at noon that day.
Okay.
The weigh-ins were at 5, so we had to go back to the hotel and do medicals. Well, for the first time ever, Jason, I failed all my medicals. All the balance stuff and everything, right? I failed everything.
Oh.
Yeah. So I was just like, oh, but they still
So,
have to, even though I failed, they still have to let you fight.
so you're a mess. Did you feel like that though? Did you feel like a mess?
Felt like a mess.
Oh
Yeah.
boy. Oh
Yeah.
boy.
Yeah. Everything. Like, yeah, it was just, at that point, I was like, ah, frick, well, whatever, just brush it off. Like, we'll rehydrate and we'll feel good. Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, after that, went back and did the final cut. So for this hydration test, what we did was we drank a gallon, not a gallon, a liter and a half of distilled water. So I
Mhm.
cut down to 153 pounds and put back another pound of distilled water. So I ended up
Gotcha.
154 pounds to keep that in my bladder to try to pass this test.
Right. Right. Gotcha.
So we get back to the weigh-ins, and at that point, Jason, like at that with that final cut, I was just like done. I felt like all my organs, everything, my heart felt a little off. Everything just felt off. I was like, this is terrible. Like I
Oh
was
my God.
at that point, I was a little bit concerned. So we get to the weigh-ins and weighed in 154, and they made me pee in a cup, tested hydration, failed by a long shot.
Oh boy.
Yeah, by a long shot. So we're like, what happens now, right? So they gave us 3 hours to pass hydration, but while still being under 155 pounds.
Yeah. How do you do that?
Very, very hard. Yeah, very hard. I don't even really know. Um, so, and of course, I'm like, I'm depleted. Like I feel like shit at this
Like,
time, right? So I'm like,
yeah.
what do we do? So what we ended up doing was we drank, I think three pounds and got up to 150. Yeah, 3 or 4 pounds of more distilled water. Held that on my bladder, and then we cut that again that night.
Oh my
And
God.
when we were sitting in the sauna that night, I was like, I don't know if we're gonna make it back to the weigh-ins. We might be in the hospital, right? I was really
Dude, I'm
concerned.
like losing my breath hearing this, man.
Yeah, I was really concerned. I was just like, I don't know. Like I don't know if my body's gonna be able to do this. Because
Oh.
yeah, it was insane. And my coaches were extremely worried too, right? And they just
Mm.
didn't expect this to happen, right? Like, we thought we had it covered, right? Yeah.
How close were your coaches to pulling the plug?
Well, I'll get to that. I'll get
Okay.
to that.
Okay.
Yeah. So we went back. I cut the rest. I got back down and to weight. We cut the rest and we went back to the weigh-ins. And I could barely walk, Jason. Like I'm
Yeah,
like a zombie, like literally a zombie. Like I'm dizzy. I
like how
can't
are
hear.
you doing this?
I lost my hearing. Yeah,
Dude.
like people were talking to me and I could not hear them.
Oh my
There-
God,
I
man.
could just make it out. It was bad. And
This is the worst I've ever heard.
yeah,
Personally.
it was really bad. Yeah. So got on the scale, like made weight, but failed hydration again, and it didn't get any better.
Sure. Oh my
Yeah,
God.
yeah. So we're
Oh,
like,
so
hey,
all that torture for nothing, basically.
for nothing. Yeah.
Oh God.
And this was 8:30 at night now. We're like, what happens now? Like, what do we do? Right.
Yeah.
And they said, okay, well, you have to pass a hydrated sample in order to fight, but you can negotiate a catch weight with your opponent if he wants to, right? Like Luke didn't have to accept it.
Sure.
Um, so we did. Well, we negotiated a catch weight. I couldn't be over 160.5, or the fight. There's no fight. Right?
At what point? At what point could you not be that on fight day?
No. I have to pass a hydrated. Like I got to pass the hydration test.
Yeah. So,
And
so is
the
this still? I'm sorry. I'm a little confused. So is this still within that 3 hour time frame?
no. Now I got all night. Sorry, I should have said that.
Okay.
I got
Okay. No worries.
all
No.
night to pass to pass hydration
Okay.
and make it, right. But I got to do that while not being over 160.5 pounds. So
I don't get
what
it.
we did
It's
was we
crazy.
drank a whole bunch of distilled water, Jason. And distilled water does not it doesn't hydrate you, right? It
Right.
pulls minerals
It's
from
just
you,
weight. Yeah.
right? It makes you actually more depleted, right? It depletes
Right.
you. So we got to like we drank till I was 160, just under 100, 160.5. We sat there and waited. And I think we did five more samples that night, Jason. And I finally passed on the fifth sample we gave. And we stayed up till 2 o'clock in the morning trying to pass. So
Oh
I
God.
was depleted that whole night. Um, while we were doing it, yeah, of course it was ugly. Brad had said, "Let's pull the plug, Cody. Let's like this probably isn't worth it, right?" And I agreed with him, but we came all the way here. This is a huge opportunity, right? We're fighting the number 5 guy. Let's just push through, right? Let's push through.
Jesus.
Let's just do it. Um, but yeah, it was really ugly, Jason, and we finally passed the hydration late that night. Went to bed really depleted,
Oh
right?
God. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Like I woke up and I got no saliva, and my hearing was still gone in the morning. And
And this is fight day.
no, so I fought Saturday morning, so this was Friday.
Oh, right. All right. I'm looking at it from my point of view in Canada here, right?
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, I tried to rehydrate and stuff that whole day Friday, and I couldn't
Your
just
body's just
couldn't come back.
destroyed.
Yeah, like my body, my all my organs felt off, my head felt off, everything felt off, and
What are you thinking at this point? What's going through your mind?
I'm trying to block it out. I'm trying to block everything out. I just try to like move on from it, right? Because things got heated that night, right? Like I'm not going to go into detail with that, but
No problem. No, I don't. I'm not
yeah,
looking for personal shit.
yeah. It's just like it took a toll on myself and the whole team, right? So we all just tried to move on. We just forget about it and let's just focus on the fight
Right.
now,
That's over.
right?
Yeah. What's done is done.
Yeah, yeah. Luke accepted the catch weight. Let's just do it, okay?
Okay.
And yeah, just tried to rehydrate, tried to eat that day, and I just wasn't feeling it, right? And went to bed. Tried to go to bed that Friday night and couldn't sleep.
Mm.
Just couldn't sleep at all. Woke up Saturday morning, felt like shit, but again, just trying to block it all off. And went to the venue. And
So
I think
at this point, as the doubts are coming in, you're just like, stay out. You know, you know what I mean?
exactly.
Like, yeah,
Yeah, like I've pulled off crazy shit before, Jason. I've showed up to fights depleted before, right? No, not this bad,
sure.
right? But I've been in bad spots before and I've still pulled it off,
Crazy
right?
momentum shifts. Yeah, for sure,
Yeah,
man.
yeah. So we got to the venue and we're in the back room and I'm warming up and I'm thinking to myself like, I can't get hit. I can't get hit in the body. I can't get hit in the head. Like I can't get hit
I
that
just
much.
can't get hit.
Yeah, yeah. I felt really compromised. Whereas usually I don't feel like that. I feel like they can hit me with anything and I'm gonna walk through it, right? Like that's like my mentality usually going into a fight, right?
And
Like
now you're straight up. I cannot get touched.
I cannot get touched. Yeah. And
Okay, this is okay. This is all making sense now as far as the fight style and what happens. Okay, okay.
yeah, yeah. And for our game plan too, Jason, like we figured like it was gonna be a dog fight, right?
Yeah,
We had to make it a little bit dirty. We might have to take one or two shots to get 4 or 5, right?
yeah, yeah.
But the way I was feeling, I was like, how implementing this game plan is it's gonna be tough,
God.
right? But yeah, again, I just tried to block that all out. I was just like, when I get in there, I'm just gonna do my thing. I'm just
Right,
gonna do my thing, right?
right. That sort of mental thing. It'll all go away once the fight starts. It'll all go away once the fight starts.
Yeah, like even in the back room, I'm like, talking to myself, like yeah, I'm the champ. I'm like, I'm gonna take this number 5 spot from this guy, right? Like I'm talking myself up, right? Yeah, just that mental game, right?
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, went in there and
You make the
went in
walk.
there,
You make the walk. You
made the
start.
walk.
You're making the walk. How are you feeling during that walk? Looking around the sights, the smells. How you're feeling? How was that walk?
Walk was extremely cool. Like just walking into Lumpini, I just felt like I felt so bad that I couldn't enjoy the moment, right?
Yeah.
Because I like that's such a big moment, right? Like I want to enjoy this to the fullest, right?
Right.
And I felt like I just couldn't, but I was trying to, right? I was just trying to
Yeah.
soak it all in. And I stepped into the ring, Luke came out and fight started. And
I'm sorry, but before you continue on, I'm just curious how did he feel on the scale? You know, comparing size and or even just in the ring. Like, did he seem like holy shit, this guy's big, or you know, like how were you generally feeling about him once you got face to face?
He was tall. Like he's a lengthy guy.
Sure is. Yeah.
Yeah, like I don't know like I think he's 6'4" around there.
Jesus.
So yeah, he's a tall guy.
Yeah.
But I honestly I was more thinking
Sure.
about myself,
You
right?
got
I was
other
thinking,
shit going on.
yeah. Like
Yeah.
no, like I'm just like, okay, I just got to do what I got to do. Like I don't care about this guy, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. I'm just going to implement my game plan on this guy, right?
Yeah. Gotcha.
Of course, that it didn't go that way.
Sure. So the fight starts, man. Break it down for us. Fight. What's running through your mind right before go time? Anything, or is it just okay? Let's just go.
You know, subconsciously, I knew like I'm feeling like shit. So I'm like, okay, it'd be nice to catch this guy.
Yep.
Right? It would be really nice to catch this guy. And it's in those small gloves, Jason, you know, it's doable, right? You know, those sting.
Yep.
You know, if I can catch this guy and get out of here early, that'd be awesome. So
yeah,
I came out pretty hard, right?
Yep.
I caught him with a right hand, maybe on the ropes. And then
had a good elbow exchange in there. I remember.
No elbow exchange. Yeah, he hit me with a couple elbows, hard elbows. He's really bony guy, right?
Yeah.
That was really surprising too, Jason. Like he caught me with some elbows, and they weren't even that hard. But like I had like a mouse.
Yeah.
On my forehead.
Bony dude.
Yeah, like really bony.
Yeah.
But yeah, then he got me with that kick.
Yeah.
And it felt like everything just shut down. My whole body was just gone. Like I just like holy frick. I've never been hit like that, and I've never felt my body just shut down like that.
I want you to know I'm proud to know somebody that got up like that, man. Like, listen, everybody I talk to about that knockdown, everybody has the same expression. Everybody goes, oh, like, yeah, man, we were all doing it with you. Like, I'm proud to know somebody that literally, I mean, really fought to get back to his feet. I'm proud to know someone like that. I just want you to know that.
I appreciate that, Jason. Yeah, no, I really appreciate that. Thank you. But yeah, it's just I got up and tried to recover. Right, tried my best, and I just every shot he hit me with after that, it didn't matter if it was on the shoulder. It didn't matter. I felt it in my body, right? And Brad and Connor were in the corner, and they said they could see my body like fluttering.
Really?
And yeah. I didn't feel that at the time, but yeah, I just every shot I just felt it, right? And
sure.
Then he just put it on.
Sure,
right? And
sure.
That was the end. That was the beginning of the end right there.
Yeah. On your way up from the first knockdown, were you on autopilot, or was there anything going through your mind at the time?
I was just like, maybe I can catch him, right?
Yeah.
Maybe I can
just
catch him
get up
and go, right?
Yeah, believe, man.
Yeah, but
nice.
Unfortunately couldn't do that. But also too, Jason, I really want to state too, and this is why I've been hesitant to talk about this whole situation. And this is the first time I'm talking about all this like publicly.
Truly grateful, by the way. Thank you. I appreciate it.
No, thank you for having me on, and thank you for giving me the platform to do it. But I don't want to sound like I'm making excuses. Okay, like Luke is number 5 for a reason. He's a killer. I went in there and I got starched, right? Mm-hmm. And maybe if I was 100%, maybe it wouldn't have went that way. But that's easy for me to say now, right? That's really easy for me to say now. So I don't want to make it sound like I'm making excuses, right? Because if I was 100%, that could have gone the same way. I don't know, right? I don't, right? So I really want to state that, because that's why I've been really hesitant about speaking about it.
No, man, I hear you. When we know if you're anywhere around this fight scene, we know who you are. And for a guy who's about to make his one championship debut, and we know how seriously you would take that, to say, dude, I can't get punched in the head or the body, or like, don't even touch me there. Like that's I hear where you're coming from. You know what I mean? Like and from what I saw, from what I know and whatever, I said, hey, listen, you take a shot. Like you just said, number 5 guy. He's been in there with wars. He's proven himself. He's already been to the thing. He's done the traveling part. That's you've had a long layoff. That's a big ass bite, man. That's
Yeah.
and good on you. And as I said in the podcast, I don't know, it probably couldn't have gone much worse. And then you hear that, and then you go, oh my God, it was so much worse. So much worse. That's insane, man. That's a crazy story.
Yeah.
I'm
No,
glad you're okay, man. I'm glad you're okay. God, forget the fight, the weigh-ins and everything. Like, I'm glad you're not in the hospital, man. Oh my God.
yeah, no, thanks, Jason. Yeah, no, it took me like 3 weeks to a month probably to recover from the weight cut
Oh my
fully.
God. Let alone a
Yeah.
fight.
Yeah. Like it wasn't even the fight that I was recovering from. It was just like the whole weigh-in process, right?
Once it was done, it's done and dusted, but you're still in the ring. What's going through your mind?
I just felt like I let everyone down, right? Like I had so much. I got the greatest fans, greatest supporters, Jason. I love them all. And I wanted to get that win for everyone, right? I
I
wanted to
got
get
you.
that my team, my fans, my family, everyone, right?
Yep. Yep.
And to go out like that, just like to get finished in the first round, because that's never happened to me before in my career, too, right?
Mhm.
That's the first time.
Mhm.
So yeah, I felt like I really let everyone down and let myself down, and I was just really really frustrated, obviously, with how it went, right? And
Sure.
I was just it
Sure.
took me yeah it took me a couple weeks after to really just process it all and like, okay, like it's time to move on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's it, man.
Yeah.
And like I was said, just from my coaches, the Muay Thai background and the mentality of Muay Thai, it's like okay, that happened. How do we improve on that? Like it's like in boxing, if you once you lose, you're the worst fighter on the planet. Like that's just not Muay Thai. It's okay. What went right? What went wrong? Let's rebuild and see if we can implement that.
Yeah.
In saying that, then what went right for you during the camp and the fight? Like I don't know if there's much, but what went right?
Not much. Yeah, not
Yeah,
much. Obviously I trained hard and I showed up
no question.
in the best shape I could have showed up,
Sure.
right? Yeah, like I know that I pushed as hard as I could in camp, right? There was no regrets there, right? I'm always disciplined,
Okay.
right?
Yep.
Um, but yeah,
Um.
like I said, I think there's a lot to take away from it, Jason. Like sometimes it takes something major like this to happen to make a change, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And unfortunately, yeah, this is just the way it is, and the way it went down. And yeah, I'm going to make this change. I think it's going to be for the better. I think my motivation to like train again and everything is just going to go up, and I'm just going to feel better in everyday life as well, right?
Yes. Definitely. You won't be depleted. Like
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. Um. By the way, just curious, has anybody come up to you and said, Cody, I'm disappointed in you?
I was. That's another thing I wanted to touch on too. Like I was really shocked on how many positive messages I got after the
Okay.
fight.
The way
Guys,
you're
like
talking, I thought you were going to say somebody was like, oh, yeah. I'm like, who the fuck is that? They need to get their ass kicked.
no, like for the most, of course, there's always going to be those people, right? Like you read through the
Them
comments and
fucking
stuff.
haters.
Yeah,
Forget
it's
that.
all good. That stuff doesn't really affect me.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, I'm just shocked on all the positive messages I got. Yeah, like thanks everyone that reached out. I appreciate every single one of you. Yeah.
That was my point, man. You didn't disappoint anybody. We're all proud of you, man. We loved watching the journey. We're proud to see you there. And it didn't go your way, but you didn't let anybody down, man. We're proud of you.
Thanks, Jason. Hey, I appreciate that. Yeah, I wanted to represent Canada too, right? Like
Sure.
on the world stage,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. I hear you.
And I still want to, right? Like,
Of course. Fuck
yeah.
yeah. Of course. Quick question for you. Now we're on the other side of this. If you could rematch Luke healthy, things will go your way. What would be some adjustments that you make?
I would probably try to implement that same game plan, Jason.
Yeah.
You have to make it. He with like when he has his range, he's tricky, right?
Yeah, man.
He's really tricky. He's got a weird style,
Like a
and
cobra, he keeps kind of moving off angle, and yeah, it's interesting.
yeah, and even like getting ready for him, right? Like with sparring partners and stuff.
Mhm.
Like, how do you implement that guy,
Yeah.
right? it's weird, right? And all my sparring partners were trying to do their best, right? But it's definitely hard to implement that guy.
Yep. Yeah, for sure.
But I think I would have the exact same plan of attack. I would put him on his back foot, right? And make it a dirty fight. I think, you know, I believe, Jason, like if I like being healthy and stuff, that's still a fight I could win, right?
Yep. Yeah, for
But
sure.
I have no intention of going back down to 55 either, right? I'm not
Please,
going
God,
down.
don't. After hearing that, please, please, I
Yeah.
beg you.
Yeah. So if he ever wanted to come up to 70, sure, that'd be
Sure.
awesome. Yeah.
Sure. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
But,
Okay.
or me to catch weight. But I'm
Yeah.
sure that's the fight he wants right now. You know, he's one fight away or two from a title shot, probably, right?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And you know, I admit, like, I'm a massive fan of one championship, but I always hear that people, like in the UFC, for example, are always complaining, you know, no more weight classes. I'm always like, there's so much more combat athletes now than there was. That a 15 or 20 or 10 pound, well, maybe 10, but 15 or higher in between weight classes is absurd, in my opinion. I'd love to see 165, 55, 65, or something like that, 64. I don't know, but you know, hopefully that happens in one championship someday. But so now, is it a kilogram thing or a pound thing? So you're moving up to 170, is it?
170, yeah.
Okay, okay. I'm just curious. Is there anybody you got your eyes on right now at 170?
You know, it's funny, like I really haven't paid attention to this division much in the past, right? Because it wasn't my division.
Sure, yeah.
But now, of course, yeah, you know, I'm going to start paying more attention.
Mhm.
But yeah, I don't. No one in really particular, Jason. I just want to get back in there and rewrite this wrong, right? I want to
gotcha.
show the world what I am actually about, right? I want to show my skills,
Yeah.
right? And I want to represent Canada well, like I said, right? So yeah, I just want to get back in there. I don't really care who it's against. Preferably not a top 5 guy from my first fight at
Yeah, yeah. I hear you.
Yeah. But if that's the way it works out, it's the way it works out, right? I can't be really. I'm not in a position to be that picky right now,
For sure. Yep.
right? So I'm just gonna my next fight. I'm just gonna go in there and do my thing, right? And I'm
Right,
I'm
you're
super.
wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice, man. Nice. I
Who
like it.
would you like to see me fight in that weight class, Jason?
Well, I was thinking Nazet Trujillo. That was the first one. I know I can't remember who he just fought. Ended in knock. I think he got TKO in the first round. Sinsumet?
Just okay, yeah.
I think that's who he just fought. But you know what? I would almost say Liam Nolan, but he's retired.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, there's a couple good ones up there for you for sure. But I have to admit, I think Nazet Trujillo was the first one that came to mind for me.
Okay.
But I'll tell you what, though, my Twitter friends, or X or whatever the hell you want to call it, you know, you're on there too. You see it. I'm not sure if you saw that little your name coming back up mentioned quite now. It's a different weight class you're moving up, but I'm curious on your thoughts of a lot of people wanted to see you fight Smoking Joe next. Not a what. I'm curious what you'd think about that fight, just in general. Obviously, it's not going to happen moving up, but what do you think about that?
That would have been a fun fight.
Yeah, man.
That's a fight that I talked about with my team.
Okay,
You know,
okay.
That's a fight we wanted as well, right? And that's a fight that would have put us in a really good spot. I don't even like, what is he right now? Is he number 3 or 2 or something like that?
I can't. He was number 2, I think, to be honest. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, he lost against Bumpara.
That's right.
Yeah, so he's probably number 3 or 4 now.
Yeah, I would imagine. Yeah.
That would have been a fun fight, Jason. 100%. Yeah, and I think stylistically it would have been crazy, right? Because you know he's pretty. He gets pretty wild in there, right? Like he's pretty hand heavy, right?
Yeah.
Especially in his championship fights and
can be hot and cold, to be honest.
Yeah, like against Tawanchai, he looked really good, right? He looked better than anyone against Tawanchai, right? So yeah, he's no slouch. It would not have been an easy fight.
But again, I hear with you. Like, in my opinion, like, listen, you dove in the deep end, you did it. It didn't go your way. Let's have somebody not in the top 5. Like, you know what I mean? Like you were saying, I'm not saying you can't handle it, but
yeah.
You know.
100%, Jason. Yeah, like I'm very confident in my abilities, and I'm confident that I'm gonna get there, right? Like
Yeah.
my end goal is to get that one championship belt, right? That is still my goal, right? Like that's what I want, right? That's why I'm in this game. I want to be the world champion, right?
Nice. Yeah.
Uh, yeah, like I know I'm gonna get there eventually, but we got to build up to that,
Right. Right.
right? Let's build up. Let's not go straight into it. Let's build up,
Yeah.
right? I think that's a better way to do it.
Yeah. And even then, maybe like I said on the podcast, I mean, could have went the other way. Maybe things went well, you're healthy, and boom, it goes the other direction. And just
Yeah.
like that, you're in the top 5. But it didn't go that way. And I can definitely respect you for stepping in the deep end like that. But yeah, I hear you. Like all those top 5 guys have more than like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 fights in one championship. Like they've been there multiple times. If not, a lot of them are from the area, so they're easy. It's not easy traveling. The time zones aren't so crazy.
Yeah.
Just curious, how was that? Did the flight and stuff, did the traveling screw you up at all?
I was a little bit concerned about that, but when I got there and I did it and everything, it wasn't actually terrible. Like I feel like we climatized pretty fast, actually. Yeah,
Okay,
like
nice.
yeah, like, we did everything properly. Like when we were there, we got morning sunlight. We watched the sunset and stuff. We got in that circadian rhythm there, right? And
I was just about to ask, is there any tricks that you use for that?
um, I'm not like I in the past I haven't really traveled to the other side of the world
True,
to fight,
true.
right?
Yeah.
So this was all new to me, but I kind of had an idea of what to do, right?
Okay.
When we got there, of course, like I stayed up all day. I tried to be in the sun as much as possible, right? Just to get that sunlight in my eyes, just to get on that time zone, right?
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, I made sure to watch that sunrise and sunset. But yeah, after a couple of days, I was like, yeah, I feel pretty good. I don't really feel jet lagged, right?
Nice.
That wasn't an issue.
Oh, beauty, man, beauty. After
Yeah.
the fight, um, did you get to spend some time in Thailand? I mean, you're probably still recovering just from the weight cut, but did you get to spend some time and enjoy Thailand at all, or were you kind of on your way back immediately?
The day after, like I was still feeling kind of shitty, but like we had a really good day. Still, like yeah, we went out to eat and stuff, and my body was just didn't didn't feel that
Oh,
that
man.
great, but still
Yeah.
ate, still got to eat a decent amount, and yeah, had a good visit and stuff with the team. Like my dad came out, Brad, Connor, Lisa, Brad's wife,
Yeah.
Lisa's like their kids. Yeah, it was great just to hang out with everyone there after.
Nice. The
Yeah.
support system at a PFA is second to none, man. You guys are a great team down there.
100%. Like I'm so thankful for my team, Jason, like Brad and Connor and like the whole team at PFA there. It's like a family, right?
Yeah, I hear you, man. I haven't met a person I don't like from PFA.
Yeah. No, everyone's awesome. Yeah, for
Um,
sure.
so you're back, done and dusted. How you feeling about it now?
I feel like I just need to rewrite this wrong, right?
Yeah.
It's all I think about, right? I get up in the morning, it's what I think about. Before I go to bed at night, it's what I think about, right? It's just always on my mind. I just feel like I just need to get in there so I can just rewrite this wrong,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It's
I hear
just
ya.
yeah, and I'm just gonna use this as fuel for the next one, right?
Yeah, for sure, man. That's how I view it too. Like, I've had a couple fights, whatever, coaching fighters, but it's easy to be an armchair quarterback, but to be on now YouTube or Amazon Prime, standing in your underwear, like that takes a big giant set of balls, and like I'm just so far past the win and loss thing for me personally. It's about the growth for me. I've seen you grow up to this point, difficult loss, and like I said on that podcast, as much as you probably said, man, that couldn't have gone much worse. I guarantee you sent at least 5 or 6 cats home with that same sentence.
Yeah.
So for me, it's just about watching the growth. Give me 1 second. We got here. Kyle Messenger. That's weird. Give me 1 sec, man. What's this guy doing here?
No worries.
Right now.
You know what? Cody's on right now.
Yeah, man. Hi.
What's up, boss?
Hey, Kyle, how you doing, man?
I'm good, buddy. Nice seeing you. I actually have a question for you.
Good to see you. Yeah, for sure.
Are you recording this? Oh, okay. You want to come to a seminar at Victory
When, Kyle?
when's good for you? On a weekend?
On a weekend?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be into that. Could I bring Brad as well?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course. Yeah. Yeah, we'd love to have you guys up. Have, one championship veteran come in, a different style than what I teach, obviously. And someone who's beat me up. So it'd be great to have you come in and you guys do a little seminar. It'd be awesome.
Yeah, I'll talk to Brad.
I've been meaning to reach out to you I wanted to wait till after your fight and then of course I just like, oh yeah, get busy and got fights coming up, but no, I mean, what's the better time than right now on the Shout Out podcast?
Yeah. No, 100%. I'm in,
Okay.
Kyle.
All right.
Let's do it.
Yeah, I'll message you and we'll set something up. Yeah, probably like the spring or something like that.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Great.
I don't know what your schedule's like, but I don't want to bother you from training too much as well. So
No, man, that'd be fun. I'm
Yeah.
completely in for that.
yeah.
How's the gym and everything? Is
It's
everything
good. It's good. Yeah, we're growing. We're getting stronger all the time. We got fights tomorrow. So Jay, you're commentating?
Yes, sir.
Awesome. Yeah. So fights tomorrow, like first real guys just developed from me. So it's really
Okay,
exciting. Yeah, it's really exciting. So
So good luck.
yeah, thanks. So yeah, all the best. I won't take up too much more of your time, but now I'm just in the neighborhood, so I stopped by. So I always
Thanks.
try to swing by when I'm up here, but Jade always locks me out.
It's like coming around the door.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, guys.
Okay, good to see you, Kyle. See you, man.
Like 5 minutes to be done.
Oh, okay. I'll just.
Holy cow! The Shout Out podcast bringing people together. My goodness. All right, man. How crazy is that? Hey, man. So we only a couple minutes left here. I just have a quick question for you. So take away the fight. Besides the fight, if you're a Canadian or somebody from this side of the planet, who gets the call, they're making their one championship debut. What are 3 pieces of advice that you would give to that person?
Just making their one championship debut on the other side of the planet.
Yeah, you're fighting in Bangkok. You're from Canada or the U.S. You're going to do that traveling thing. What are some things that you took away that you could give?
Fight in your correct weight class.
Okay, yeah, good. call.
That's number one. Just because you can make the weight doesn't mean you should.
Smart.
Yeah. Number 2. Go a little earlier.
Okay.
Yeah, more probably 10 days to 2 weeks. I would say climatize, right? Just in case that's an issue, right? Like you wouldn't want to show up to Bangkok 3 or 4 days prior, right? Because jet lagged and all that, right?
Yeah.
And number 3, when you do get there, make sure that. Actually, no. Let me take that one back, Jason. Let me take that one back.
No problem.
Yeah, just have a good camp like every other fight, right? Like, train hard, make sure you're prepared, and one championship's the pinnacle, right? It's you're fighting the best in the world, right? So just make sure that make sure you're ready.
Yeah, and health pending, try to enjoy it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Anything else before we're out of here?
I just want to shout out my team, Jason, Brad, Connor, my whole team at PFA, my family, all my supporters. Thanks for all the love, guys. Continue to have faith in me, please. We'll be back, right? Things didn't go our way, but we'll definitely be back on the world stage and back to our winning ways.
You bet, man. Hey, I also want to commend you too, man. Like, even just on smaller shows, way smaller shows, when people even coaches, when fighters win, everybody gets to celebrate it on Instagram. But then when they lose, you'll never even know that they fought. And I think to be on the world stage and the world able to watch, and in my opinion, quite soon after being able to come on a public thing where everybody now can hear you and see you again and explain what went wrong. Good on you, man. I think that's a good symbol of growth and understanding exactly how this thing goes. So I applaud you for that, man.
Yeah, thanks, Jason. Yeah, thanks for giving me the platform too to come on here and talk about it all too. I really appreciate that.
Always. And anytime, man. I'm a big fan of everybody over there. And next time after a one championship thing, we can talk about, well, the things that went right and nothing that went wrong.
Talk about a win next time.
Damn straight, buddy. All right, man. Listen, I appreciate it. I'll let you get to it. Enjoy your weekend, man. And I appreciate all your time.
Okay, yeah, you as well. Thanks
Awesome.
again, Jason.
I got faith in you, man. I'm a fan.
Thank you.
All right, man. Talk soon.
Have a good one.